Welcome back to your Aces franchise. If you missed the last episode, we simmed through the rest of June as well as the All-Star game where our All-Star Dominic Smith went 0 for 1. Not awesome, but hey, congrats on being an All-Star. Today's episode, we're going to sim through the rest of July. We're going to deal with the trade deadline. So let's jump in and start simming. That brings us to the bottom of the 6th against the Los Angeles Angels. See if we can tie this game. That brings up Henry Bolt in the bottom of the 6th against Jimmy Herget, trying to drive in a run and tie this game. Let's see what Bolt will do. That one's driven left field. It will be caught. See if it's deep enough to drive in the runner. The throw will be offline and the game will be tied at the bottom of the 6th thanks to Henry Bolt. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter for this game, Corey Julks. Bolt and Julks. See what Julks will do. We acquired him from Houston early on in the season. See what Julks will do. That one's grounded, third base, shortstop, and it will be out from the second baseman. That brings us to the bottom of the 10th, where Gabriel Arias is up against Matt Moore. Let's see what Arias can do and see if he can drive in the tying run at second. So that one's fouled off. Arias has been a little disappointing this season, but looking to turn things around here in the second half. Let's see what he can do. The 7th pitch of the at-bat. Be swung on for a strikeout, and Gabriel Arias goes down swinging. But that will bring up Eddie Rosario, last episode's hero. See if he can be the hero again. Lefty on lefty against Matt Moore. And that ball driven center field will be caught by Trout and thrown to third with the cannon of an arm. That brings up Alec Burleson. He's having a decent season so far, average a little low, but let's see what he can do here against Matt Moore and see if he can drive in this run without ending the game. And that will be a walk for Alec Burleson. And that will bring up the lefty killer, Nick Senzel. See what Senzel can do here. His 4th at-bat of the game, 0 for 3 today. Driven to right field. This should be caught by Ward, and that will be the 3rd out of the game, and the Angels will win against the Aces. That brings us to the top of the 8th against the Angels. Luis Ortiz on the mound, bases loaded. Let's see if Ortiz can get out of this jam. And that's a ground ball, third base. It should be thrown to first, and that will be the 3rd out of the inning, and he will get out of the jam. And the Aces will win the game and will take 1 out of 3 against the Angels. Not a great series, but a win's a win. That brings up Corey Julks in the bottom of the 8th against Joel Cano against Houston. First game of the series, and Julks drifts that ball, and that ball's gone for a home run. Corey Julks. The Aces will take the lead 7-4. Julks against his former team. Revenge game, Julks. That'll bring up Gabriel Arias. Looking to go back to back, or at least get on base so another one can get on. Looking at the bat, a little confusing. That one's fair down the line, and this should be a single. He might head to 2, and he will. He'll test the throw as the runner, and he will be out. Advancing to second. Yordan Alvarez gets the play. And that would be an out, but not before he could get a single. That brings up Eddie Rosario. And that ball is absolutely mashed to the right side, but just foul. That will be a walk for Eddie Rosario, and that will bring up Ryan Connors, the creative player. Let's see what Connors will do with Eddie Rosario on base. He's 1 for 2 with a single today, and a walk. Let's see what he'll do. That one's drilled. Left field, right field, going back on it, and he will catch it right at the warning track. And that will be the 3rd out of the 8th inning for the Astros. That makes us in a win streak for your Aces. See if we can keep this up going into the next game against the Astros. That brings us to the next series where we face off against the Angels again. and Zack Pop will be on the mound looking for the save with Mike Trout on second base. Let's see if Pop will get the save. Facing Brandon Drury, the former trade prospect from many different teams including the Toronto Blue Jays, the Diamondbacks, and the Reds. See what he'll do as that's a ground ball to third base. Corey Julks to first, and that will be the first out of the 10th inning. And that brings up Mickey Moniak, the former first overall pick by the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's see what Pop will do against this former pick. 2-2 pitch, slider low. Let's see if he'll chase. And that ball is behind the catcher, and the runner will advance to third on the wild pitch from Zack Pop. 3-2 pitch, grounded, first base, touches first, and that will be the second out of the 10th inning. Zack Pop now 1 out away from the save as that brings up Taylor Ward, the 2-time All-Star. See what Zack Pop can do. That one drilled into center field, and that will drive in Trout, and that will tie the game for the Angels. Zack Pop with his 7th blown save of the season. And that brings up Logan O'Hoppe as Zack Pop just tries to get out of the inning now while he can keep this game tied. That one hit between the shortstop hole and will be another hit as Logan O'Hoppe reaches first base on a single. That will bring up Luis Rengifo, the lefty killer. See what Zack Pop will do and see if he can get out of this inning without allowing another run. The 0-2 pitch, slider low, the shortstop thrown to first, and that will be the third out of the 10th inning. But not before the game will be tied by the Angels. Let's see if the Aces can come out on top. And the Aces will win their 4th game in a row as they take the win against the Angels here on the road. Let's continue this series and see if we can continue the win streak. That brings us to the bottom of the 9th, where Deja Vu Part 2, as Zack Pop is on the mound again facing the Anaheim Angels as he looks to get the save to bring our win streak to 5. Let's see what will happen. So that's the 0-2 pitch swung on by Nolan Shanell. 3-2 pitch, grounded, second base, Arias knocks it down, thrown to first, and they will get the out at first, and that's a big out right there. But the runner will now be on second, 180 feet away from home plate. See what will happen and see if Zack Pop can continue this save and get the win for the Aces. That one grounded up the middle. It will be bobbled by the second baseman, and there will be a throw to first, but the runner will be safe as Caleb Hamilton reaches base on a base hit. That will bring up Luis Rengifo, who's 2 for 4 today. See if Zack Pop can get the double play here. And that's a wild pitch. Catcher goes back, throws to home, and the runner will score, and Zack Pop has his 8th blown save of the season on a wild pitch, his 2nd in this series. See if Zack Pop can keep this a tight game going forward. That one to second base to first, and that will be the second out, and the runner will move over to third base, and that will bring up Taylor Ward, the 2-time All-Star. Let's see if Zack Pop can get him out again, or if he will give up another hit to Taylor Ward. That one's grounded. Ryan Connors fields, runs, and touches the base, and that will be the 3rd out of the 9th inning. See if the Aces can win. That brings us to the top of the 10th, where Jose Cisneros on the mound with 2 runners on and Gabriel Arias up to the plate. See what Arias can do as he fouls that one off. That's a ground ball. Slow to third base to first, and will be a double play, and that will end the 10th inning for the Angels as they roll the double play. That brings us to the top of the 11th. Dominic Smith up, 2 runners on, 1 out. See if he can get a runner in and give us the lead as he swings way too early on that one. He's got a 200 average with runners in scoring position. Looking to change that number. Let's see what he'll do. That one grounded, first base, touches the bag, and that would be the 2nd out of the inning as Anthony Rendon playing first base this game. Surprised he hasn't gotten injured thus far into the season. And that will bring in the reliever, Andrew Wantz, and he wants to keep this game tied, but let's see if we can change that with Eric Haas up to the plate, our best hitter so far. See if he can drive in a run. That one drilled, and it will be caught by Mike Trout for the third out of the 11th inning, and that will bring us to the top of the 12th. That brings us to the bottom of the 11th. Mitch Spence on the mound, breathing heavily with the runner on third base. The winning run at third base, Anthony Rendon up. Let's see if Spence can get us out of this jam. That one drew to right field, and it will be caught and thrown. Let's see if the throw is in time, and it will not be in time, and the Angels will win and snap our win streak, leaving it at 5. That brings us to the trade deadline. So let's go ahead and look for some trades. Looking at the lineup, someone I think we should definitely be looking to trade is Eddie Rosario. I don't think his potential and his trade value will get any higher, as he's having a very good season, surprisingly. Hitting .266 with a 768 OPS. He has a 1.4 WAR. He's having a very good season all around. 19 doubles, 4 triples. I think that might be a career high. Just kidding. 15 triples in 2015. Wow, that's pretty crazy. But 19 doubles, 4 triples, 11 home runs. He's got 8 stolen bases, so he's about pretty close to the 10-10-10 club. But I think he's definitely someone that we'll be looking to trade. Another person could be Dominic Smith. He's having a good season. He did just win his first All-Star appearance, so that could boost up his trade value a little bit, but I don't think it would be that much higher. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what we can get for both of them. Looking at a team that needs some outfield, I see the Guardians who they are wanting a center field, a left field, or a right field. And looking at their depth, we see they have Miles Straw, Ramon Laureano, and Stephen Kwan and Will Brennan. They also have George Valera, Tyler Freeman. So they've got a bunch of really young guys who are looking to make their jump up to the MLB level. They also have Estevan Florial. So these are guys who, they also have Chase DeLauder. These are guys who want to get up to the MLB level, and I think that they want to bring these guys up, but they're also looking for that push. And a guy that I like on their roster a lot is Stephen Kwan. He's not the best hitter. He's going to hit for average, but he's not going to hit home runs. And I kind of like that. He's going to hit a lot of doubles and a lot of triples, and he's going to get on base at a high clip. I think this is a guy we should look to trade for. So let's go ahead and find a trade that works. Revisiting the trade, we can see that Eddie Rosario and Drew Swift are available, and they are definitely interested in making this deal here. I think it's a little sad to give up Drew Swift considering he is a created player from you guys, but I think this is the best chance that we're going to get at building a rebuilding roster, so I think I'm going to go ahead and accept this. The next player I want to look to trade is Zack Pop. He's having a pretty decent season with 20 saves. He does have 8 blown saves, but I do think that's because we are not a good team, considering his ERA is 3.72. He has 20 saves, so I think he could be a really good add-on for a team that's looking to push into the playoffs and a team that needs some extra help in a bullpen. So I went over to the Giants, who I think are a great fill for this spot. They're looking to get into the playoffs. They have a decent bullpen, but looking to make it stronger. And they also have a lot of outfield depth. And I want to look at Elliot Ramos. This is a guy who used to be a top prospect, who's fallen off a little bit, but I think the numbers and the attributes are still there. And I think he could be a guy who can come up for us and progress at the MLB level at AAA, become somewhat of a younger hitter in the outfield that we can look to mentor. So I'm going to go ahead and make this trade. The next guy I want to look to trade is Eric Haas. He's also having a pretty good season. I mean, for a catcher, that's pretty good numbers. He's a decent fielder. He's hitting home runs at a significant rate. He's slugging .435. He's got a 748 OPS, which matches his breakout season in 2022. So I think this is a guy that we can look to trade. And another team who's looking for a good catcher is the Cardinals. And if we go look at their catchers, they have Wilson Contreras, but he's injured with a torn groin. He will be back in 2 weeks. So that means that they just need someone to tide them over And I think Eric Haas can be a very good backup for Wilson Contreras. If Wilson is not hitting well, they could bring up Eric Haas. And honestly, Eric Haas has just about the same fielding attributes, maybe even a little bit better than Wilson Contreras. So if they need a ninth inning catcher to come in. And who we're going to be getting back is Ivan Herrera. This is a very, very good catching prospect. He's very young. The attributes are not quite there yet, but he's still progressing. At 23 years old, I don't think we'll need to call this guy up until he's around 25, 26. And I think at that point, he can be a very good catcher for us. He's got the fielding attributes already. He's got decent hitting attributes. And those are only going to go up. So I think this is a great trade for us. So let's go ahead and make it. The next trade I want to look to make is trading away Dominic Smith. Him being our lone all-star from this season means that he has the most value out of anybody else on the team. So therefore, I look towards the Reds, who need a first baseman. And I say, here's Dom Smith. And they told me that they wanted to get rid of Jonathan India. And I said, okay, let me look at who else you want. You want a center fielder? I will give you Victor Robles. And that wasn't enough. Although Victor Robles has a very good fielding and decent contact, I think if he was platooned correctly, he could be a very good hitter for the outfield. But I added in Henry Bolt. Now Henry Bolt is our number 3 overall prospect. He's a very good hitting outfielder. And although he's very, very young and probably has more promise than these guys we're trading for, I wanted to add him in just to make this trade a little more realistic, considering Jonathan India did win Rookie of the Year a few years ago. But Jonathan India is available and on a contract for around 3 more years, and I think within those 3 years we will have built up a team, and if anything, he's another trade piece that we can trade going forward into the future. He's a very good fielder, decent fielder, but he's a very good hitter. He can play third base and shortstop. So I think will be a very good move for us as we look to move Arise completely to shortstop for next season. So let's go ahead and make this trade. Next guy I want to look to trade is Tyler Gilbert. He's not having a great season in starting pitching, but he's having a decent season where I think he could be added as a team's 5th starter or a bullpen long relief pitcher. So I think that he probably has the most potential of trade value out of our pitchers, considering age, we're not going to be trading away Emmett Sheen because he's 24. We're not going to be trading away Aaron Kidd or Thad Lyons because they're 23. So I look to the Pirates, who need a 5th starter, and I see that they have Bailey Falter in AAA. This is a guy who's having a decent season in the MLB, and they bring him down, and he has a 2.16 ERA in AAA. Yeah, sign me up for this. So we go ahead and add in another prospect, our 17th overall prospect, Armando Alvarez. He is somewhat of a very older prospect considering he's 29. Probably not going to play at the MLB level, but he's going to fill out their positions that they need at second base and first base, and then they can move up a prospect potentially. So I think this is a decent trade for us, and I think for the Pirates it's more of a better trade for us, but the Pirates want to make this trade, so I think let's go ahead and make this. So that will end off this episode. I just want to say before the episode ends though, that I am very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you guys who's watching this. You guys all mean a lot to me, and just seeing how the last video blew up, I just am very thankful, and I'm very grateful for all of you. I hope that you guys all know that your likes and your comments mean so much to me, and just seeing that you guys want to be added as a prospect into the series, it just makes me want to make more and more episodes. I sit here every day and I make a new episode just because of you guys. So thank you guys for everything, and have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.